The setting of our film opening is very conventional because it starts off in the woods. The woods are a familiar place to most people, and the settings that these are used often in mainstream film.
It challenges conventions of real media products by showing the man watching and attacking the girl only twice and quite briefly. In many mainstream films, the threat to the main character is usually shown a lot to the audience, in order to develop a conventional villain character and making them want to watch more. However, this also follows the convention of a dramatic mystery-style film, if the attacker remains anonymous throughout the film opening.
The soundtrack we have used varies widely in genre. We have peaceful, classical music which quickly changes to tense, fast-paced chase-style music. These variations in music are to show the audience how fast the situation changes and raise questions about the remainder of the film.
We developed our character to be reactionary. This made her easy to create, but also meant that she was recognisable to a wide audience. We decided that the main character should be a teenager, as our target audience is teenagers, and therefore they may find that they can relate to certain aspects of the character and to enjoy the film more.
Furthermore, the wide adult audience is likely to feel a lot of sympathy towards the young person in danger, especially if they have children of their own.
We've decided to represent her as vulnerable because we want the audience to worry and sympathise with her and take her side as she is the protagonist. We are aware that teenage girls are not stereotypically vulnerable, but we also know that this is how they are often portrayed in mainstream cinema. For example, in the very successful Twilight saga, Bella is consistently shown as vulnerable throughout the series.
We have achieved the vulnerable look through certain camera techniques. While she is running, a number of shots are taken from high-angle perspectives in order to make her look small, and therefore typically more susceptible to danger and incapable of defending herself. It also conveys the panic and desperation felt by our protagonist.
Furthermore, the unsteady camera shots used while she appears to be running towards us allows the audience to see her situation as unstable. To do this, the cameraman, Aaron, ran in front of Alicia while holding the camera in order to create unsteady shots. This also shows that generally, a teenager would feel more emotionally unstable in this situation rather than an adult who would typically be more level-headed.
It is more likely that a small independent institution would distribute our product because of the low budget. With minimal CGI, low travel costs and no A-list stars, there will be no need to contact any of the big five, as we would not need that kind of budget.
All the filming will be done locally, meaning there's no need to pay for an entire cast and crew to travel. Furthermore, it could be premiered at local film festivals as opposed to mainstream cinema chains. This would reduce distribution costs, but would reach the specific audience of local film festival fans.
Our target audience is teenagers. Through doing our audience research prior to planning our film opening, we found that adolescent age groups with preferred film genres including mystery and drama, which correlates perfectly with the genre of our film. Furthermore, the protagonist is a teenager, and we would hope that the adolescent audience would be able to relate with her in some way, allowing them to firstly enjoy the film, but secondly, make them think. Did it affect them in any way? And they learn something from it, and even though our target audience is predominantly teenagers, we feel that it does have an appeal towards an adult audience.
Due to the mysterious nature of our film and the parental concern an adult would feel towards our young protagonist, we think an adult would potentially enjoy our film. Moreover, the local setting of our film would attract people from the area. This means showing it at a local film festival would make the film more popular and talked about it in one certain place due to its regional origins. This would therefore allow the film to be a local success, and that essentially would be our aim were we to go through with creating a feature-length film.
Our original audience research was directed at our target audience. We asked them questions concerning the genre of our product, horror, mystery, thriller, and whether they would feel that the type of film would be attractive to their age group.
After completing our opening, we showed it to 3 of our peers and asked them questions and received feedback. We asked them what did they enjoy about the film, what could be improved, and what questions would they like answered should we make it into a full-length film. And what do you like about it?
I thought it was just sort of interesting concept. It's the idea of being chased to then having this false paradise at the end, and it's sort of like a bright light come in with the music, and you feel like it's she's safe, and then she's not safe, and you can see that in the way she acts in the final scene as well. The chase scene was done really well because most times when I see a chase scene, I'll imagine it like the camera's really shaky and you're finding it struggling to see what's actually going on, whereas in the source it wasn't like that and you could clearly see. And every time you could see the facial expression of the actor worked really well, and it was only 2 actors in it, yet it felt like that worked well because it could focus more on that and there wasn't too much going in at the same time.
And what do you think could be improved?
I thought they definitely needed some more dialogue. It just felt like it was lacking. Like, it was just a sort of a running scene and that was mainly the big part of it. And then some of the music, when it started off and it played the music coming in, like that, I feel like I've heard that music a lot, like a hell of a lot, and it just felt like it was sort of a cliche Paradise music, but that could work as well, I guess, if you're going for some cliche thing.
Okay, and like, were any questions raised in your mind after watching it?
I'd like to know some more backstory, like why was she being chased, who were each characters, never, like one of them she could be in the wrong for all we know, she could have stolen something from him. It's an interesting concept, I mean, because there's no dialogue in it and it's just a chase scene, it leaves open loads of possibilities and ideas as to what was going on and a future of the scene, I guess.
So I liked how you did the running shot. I liked how you were able to kind of keep it like straight in front of her as she was running, and so you had her like straight at the camera. So that was kind of a good close-up shot that you had there. I think I also liked how you had the sound that you used, especially when it kind of when she goes through into the world first, and you've got that sound of her like panting and stuff. That was really good, and I liked the original music in the background. It was pretty good as well. And I think the kind of colours in when they get to the Wonderland bit is quite good. And you have a lot of enigmas, like, you know, who is she? Where was she going? Why was she running away? Who's the person that's kind of chasing after her, and where is this place that she's somehow ended up in?
And do you think could be improved?
I think some of the shots were a little shaky. Like, you have the panning shots, which I think could have been a bit more kind of stable. I think sometimes with those kind of shots you don't need to pan. I think if you just have a wide kind of establishing shot, then you don't need to have the camera movement. And like steady shots are sometimes better than movement shots, unless you intentionally want to have the movement shot to kind of convey something. I think it was a bit short. I think you could have maybe had a little bit more, some more dialogue or something in it, but yeah, I think it was quite good.
Yeah, I thought it was quite good. It raised quite a few questions. It was quite gripping to want to know why the guy was chasing her, who he was, and all that sort of stuff.
What do you think could be improved?
It would be superb if there was a bit more dialogue in the film. Then it would help to explain some of the unanswered questions that are then posed by the film and what happens in it.
Okay, and what sort of questions did it raise?
Well, the first question is why is she running away from someone, and who is he, and what motives does he have wanting to chase her down? But it's also, what did she do wrong, or how did she then find herself in this situation where she is being chased down by a guy who is masked? And also, is she aware that she's being chased? Since in the film she didn't look too bothered, that when she was walking it wasn't with much urgency. When she stopped at the pond, she didn't seem like in a rush or in a hurry, and it does so. Does she actually know she is being chased down or hunted down by this masked fellow?
One thing relevant to our film opening that we learned about editing was effects. In Adobe Premiere you can adjust the effects of the picture by opening the Effect Controls tab. You then go into Effects, and from there you can pick several different effects that you find appropriate. When you find one, you click and drag it into your clip you want to add. It will appear in the Effects Control tab, and from here you can edit the settings of the effect. For example, you can blur the picture, and from there increase or decrease the amount of blur desired.
Also, we learned how to use new cameras, which are EOS 600D Canon cameras. Although we are not formally taught how to use these new cameras, we got to grips with them quickly and assisted each other in operating them. For example, we found a complication with the camera's white balance when we were shooting outside, and Aaron managed to correct it by finding the white balance settings and changing it to outdoor mode.
We feel that we have learned that thorough planning is required to create any product. It helped us make a better film opening and made the overall production smoother. Writing draft scripts and storyboards and then perfecting them later is useful, so we know what will work and what won't. Whereas when we did our preliminary task, we didn't do any redrafting and only did one shoot.
Multiple shoots are helpful because after one shoot you can look at your mistakes and correct them when you film again. Furthermore, adding effects to the film can alter the way in which the audience perceives the mood of the film. For example, darker colours in our chase scene made it come across as more sinister than if we left it unaffected. Also, using various locations makes the film look more professional rather than just filming in school. Real directors plan which locations to use, and therefore our film opening looks more like the real thing thanks to use of multiple locations.